right, Warriors, Patriots, and Preppers. We got a lot to talk about, and per special request, one of the things I want to talk about is going to be what you should be prepping in terms of your canned goods. And that kind of leads to the overall discussion of what we saw last night on, what is it, today's the 14th, so on 3/13, from coast to coast, north to south, all of that, we saw panic buying on a whole new level. What I said was going to be the second wave, and I told all of you to get ready and get prepared now because the second wave was coming. Once these people realized that they couldn't eat their toilet paper and that the water was still going to be on during this pandemic, the run on the food was going to start. And that's part of what this is, like the special request was about what canned goods should you get. Well, I don't think it's going to be too late yet. But you're going to want to hurry, and you're going to want to hurry now because the third wave is coming. And the third wave is going to be the panic and people acting crazy in the stores. Everyone who didn't have the ability to buy yesterday because they're waiting on a check to come in, they don't have any money saved up, whatever the reason may be, they're going to be the third wave, and it's going to be a little more intense because these people are going to be feeling a little desperate. I was at the store last night getting some stuff for my mom. We decided, she's over 65. We're not going to have her go out and get her groceries anymore. She's decently prepped herself, but there was just a couple little items that she wanted, kind of special dietary items, which fortunately were still in stock because the price point is a little bit higher on some of those organic goods, which prevented some of the panic buying. So that was a huge benefit. A benefit to her, but there was some stuff that she wanted that was not there. And when you're going to these situations, and especially if you're trying to pick through what's left, what you really want to do is you want to look for three things, and kind of to me in this order. You want to look for calories, proteins, and fats, okay? The higher the calorie, the better, because really this is survival food. You're trying to balance out the normal amount of calories that you would get throughout your day. So the higher amount of calories you could get, the better. Survival situation, you need fats and proteins to really survive. I say proteins first because most of us in America have a little bit higher fat content, and we could make it a little longer without having as much fat. That's not to say you're not going to want to make sure that you're getting the proper fat, and hopefully good fat too, because it leads to better cognitive abilities, better motor skills, overall better energy as you use that to burn first versus burning your muscle, which is the reason why you want to keep the protein levels up. Some of the ones I think are good, and this is just going off of canned goods, I'm not saying they're good long term or anything like that, but any of your beef stews and beef cans, soups and stuff like that, those tend to have a little bit higher calorie count, a little bit higher fat count, and a little bit higher protein count than the chicken counterparts, the chicken soups and stuff like that. Also, a lot of the raviolis are good. They're pretty high calorie, pretty decent protein, pretty decent fat. Things like canned tuna and stuff, those are great, but it's a low calorie, low fat, high protein. So you got to know what you're looking for dietary wise when you're buying these items. I've seen a lot of people ransack the tuna. A couple people at work who were not into prepping, their first thought was tuna, and I was just thinking to myself, I was like, man, like tuna's great if you're used to eating tuna, right? A lot of people are not used to eating tuna. Might be a little bit harder go for the kids. So that's the thing you got to think about too, is what foods do you like, what foods do you already have, and what's going to make this situation easy. You're not going to want to add to your bug-in situation the drama of getting yourself, the kids, or anyone in your house to eat something that they're not used to eating. So just like I say, how people ask me all the time, how long should I prep? How long do you need to have to make you feel comfortable? What food should I prep? What foods do you normally eat that are going to be comfortable for you to eat? You should always start there because it's going to make it 1,000% easier for you. Should you have some longer shelf life food, some MREs? Yeah, but that's not going to be your first line. You're not going to want that to be your first line of food that you eat. No one is. So, you go to the stores right now. When I went Chicken was all gone. We stocked up on some chicken. We threw some in the freezer. Beef was all gone. Not worried about it. We stocked up on some beef. We threw it in the freezer. So I encourage you guys to do that. One thing that we did is for my mom, we got her the butterball turkey. I called her, made sure it was okay. She loved the idea. She's able to cook that. It's going to last her a few days. So you might want to look into something like that because there was plenty left. There was a lot of stuff gone though. Cheap little frozen pizzas wiped out. A lot of the pot pies wiped out. I think I suggested corn dogs and I suggested cheap hot dogs. You could get like the S-Bar brand hot dogs are 99 cents for 8. You could buy a bunch of those, decent amount of fat, decent amount of protein, decent amount of calories. So just something to keep in mind and really, really consider as we go forward. It's calories, 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 and then you're gonna wanna go with what you like to eat first. It's gonna, I could not imagine having to sit down now in a survival situation, bugged in with the kids for the next 2-3 weeks and eating Vienna sausages. I hate them. I think they're gross. I wouldn't want them. Don't have them in my preps. Not interested, right? So to have that be your main survival food, because those were wiped out. Those were wiped out at the Walmart I saw. So if those are people's main survival food or the little staple they're gonna have, it's gonna be gross. They're not gonna like it because most people, you go there and those are always stocked up. Most people do not like those. You may, awesome, good for you. I don't care because I think they're gross. But what you're gonna run into next is these people have bought all these foods that don't make sense. They bought all these foods that their kids don't want to eat. They're starting to see their normal staples be completely out. So you're gonna get into the third wave where it's panic in the stores, chaos in the stores, and people going for things that start to make a little bit more sense. You got to keep in mind, we've all probably been prepping for a while, right? So we kind of know what we're doing, we know what we buy, and we know what we're getting. So now people are going to be quickly learning. The amount of subscribers I had across all platforms have gone up. I imagine a lot of those are people who are brand new to prepping, and people are trying to figure it out. So as they figure it out, you're going to continue to see these staggered waves. To that point, for these waves of prepping, right? A lot of people don't think this, the virus itself is going to be that big of a deal. Well, obviously the response is, obviously the government's rollout is pretty serious. The stock market is getting pretty serious. Maybe the virus doesn't end up being that bad. I hope not, right? But what we want to do now is you're going to want to take your prepping to the next level when this calms out. We've already seen a precursor to what a global pandemic might look like. Could you imagine if people right now were dropping dead on the streets, hundreds every day, thousands every day, how much more ramped up this would be, how much more insanity would be going on, how few toilet papers there would be if it was actually kicking off like that. I think we're less than 100 dead as of this morning. I think it's around 50 maybe in the US, under 3,000 cases, and it's already chaos in the stores, right? What if it was 3,000 dead and 300,000 cases? We're seeing, just like the reaction with Katrina, we're seeing a real live SHTF scenario play out. We're seeing people's reactions play out, and we know now that so many people are unprepared. Nobody's ready. The government's not ready. The average citizen's not ready. Whether it's a small town, big town, or not, I think we learned that people are genuinely not ready. So as this dies down, as this pulls back, it's not going to be a time for you to pull back. It's going to be a time for you to double your efforts, because it's going to be a little bit easier to get the stuff you need. Set some real goals about what you want to have prep back and reach for those goals, hit them, check them off, and stay in a situation of readiness, because the next time this comes through, we already know what the government's going to do, we already know what the people are going to do, and we'll be that much more ahead of the curve, and we might not even have to go out at all. I think I'm at the point where we're probably about a week away from just saying, nope, I'm not going out to the store anymore. Like I mentioned, I told my mom already that she wasn't going to go shopping. I talked to my wife about it last night. I think her and the boys are done going out, especially if it's to the store. There's going to be just the chaos and the fear in the store was palpable. It was really there. was really there. It was kind of creepy. It was kind of weird. And it wasn't just me. You could see it on people's faces. People rolling up to the meat section. There was no meat available, making phone calls. Hey, what should I do? What should I get? I had watched people put back stuff that they obviously wanted that was going to make them feel comfortable because they didn't have the money for it. So the chaos is going to ensue. The panic's going to continue. And I think right now, if there was any time of the year for this to happen, this might have been the best time. I've heard a couple people talk about it, how they were a little bummed that they were using their tax return money on getting some extra food and stuff. So what if it wasn't tax return season? What if these people who rely on their tax returns to get them through to whatever next phase or to help them put some money back didn't have any extras right now? Would we already be seeing more chaos on the streets? I don't know, but I would imagine so. So I can encourage you guys to stay prepared, get all your stuff in order. Check us out on Instagram. Check out Operation Black Horse. It's current, ongoing. Check out Mission 2024 and leave some comments down there. I'm gonna do my best to keep making videos. The more ideas you give me, the better. There's a lot of prepping information out there, and I'm just trying to contribute a little piece.